Welcome, it's Dome, and welcome to this crypto update. This video is going to be a warning, and I don't like to make this video. I wish I was bullish. I wish the market gave me better signs than it is currently giving me, but I'm just gonna tell you guys to be ready. Because yes, technically we are still in a bull market, but I feel like we're about to turn around for a bear market within, let's say, within weeks from now. So in this video, I will lay out a case that the market has already topped. And I don't like to make this video. It is what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. But let me show you all the data that I'm looking at. First off, let's talk about the narratives. The narratives that got us from $20,000 Bitcoin to over $100,000 Bitcoin. One of the key narratives was Bitcoin ETFs that launched roughly a year ago. These were a massively anticipated bullish thing. Some people thought the markets already topped when they launched, but that was not the case. The market still went up more than double from when ETFs got launched. But right now, when we take a look at ETF inflow, outflow, you can see that we have some inflows into Bitcoin ETFs still, but we also have, sorry, this is the wrong chart here. We have to take a look at US Bitcoin ETFs here. So as you can see, over the last, let's say, in the last practically 2 months now, we are seeing a lot of red here on the charts, which shows us that Bitcoin ETFs are actually already selling. Yes, we do see massive green spikes here as well, but if you combine the green with the red, we're basically looking at sideways move for Bitcoin ETFs. So right now, Bitcoin ETFs don't seem to be massively accumulating Bitcoin anymore. They are basically passively investing into Bitcoin, and some are even selling. So right now, I feel like the Bitcoin ETF narrative is basically done. So yes, it is long-term bullish, obviously, but in the short term, I feel like the Bitcoin ETF narrative is done. Next, we had the Bitcoin strategic reserve narrative that Donald Trump will go to the market and start using United States government budget to go and buy Bitcoin from the market. But as we have had more information about the Bitcoin strategic reserve, it seems like that is not the case. It seems like the Bitcoin strategic reserve is only going to be a stockpile of Bitcoin, of confiscated Bitcoin assets that the United States government actually buys. So the Bitcoin strategic reserve hype, I feel like this was a letdown. It may still turn around. Obviously, maybe some government countries across the globe will start buying Bitcoin. But when it comes to the Bitcoin strategic reserve that Donald Trump promised, it doesn't seem like that is going to become a thing. It's already been almost 2 weeks since Trump took office, and there's basically no news about that. So this could still flip around, but in my opinion, it's basically a letdown for now. Then we had the narrative of meme coin supercycle, but as it turns out, most of the meme coins are simply grifts. They are insider traders. And when Donald Trump issued the Trump token, when he issued the Melania token, I feel like a lot of people are basically just throwing in the towel with meme coins, because there's always a new meme coin where insiders make the most amount of money. People who list those meme coins on exchanges trade the markets, front run the markets, and then dump on investors. I feel like the meme coin supercycle theory, this was bullshit. And this most people lost money with the meme coin supercycle idea. At least I did. Maybe you made some money, but I'm on the losing side for this. Then we have the narrative that money printing will resume, and Bitcoin will save us from the from all the government spending. But as we know, Doge is actually cutting down government spending. It is cutting down government waste. And when that happens, that is actually deflationary for fiat currency. And when it's deflationary, it's pushing the value of fiat higher and the value of assets down. So right now we are not seeing money printing. When we take a look at the global liquidity chart here, which shows us all of the major currencies of the market like China, US, Euro, Japan, Great Britain, and some other ones as well, you can see we have fallen below the trend line here in the global liquidity chart. And while we are below it, it seems like this actually wants to go further down. And when global liquidity goes down, it means that people, banks, companies don't have money. When they don't have money, they cannot buy assets or push asset prices higher. So that usually is a signal for a market crash. So that deflationary market crash is the worst kind of crash that can happen. And right now, we're not seeing money printers being online. We don't know when money printers will go online. And one more thing when it comes to money printers, when we take a look at the Federal Reserve's reverse repo facility, this was basically the escape fund that was created during COVID times. And as you can see, they had $2 trillion here of capital. And right now it only has less than $80 billion left in the reverse repo facility. And this is basically the last reserve capital that banks have to access the liquidity. When banks don't have liquidity, they will go insolvent. And when banks go insolvent, that means panic. And when banks panic, when you cannot withdraw capital, capital is not flowing in the markets, that usually means that markets crash. So unless the Trump government goes ahead and fills the reverse repo facility beforehand, this can be avoided, and that can cause a bull market. But I don't see any mention of Donald Trump's government actually doing anything with this problem here. So the banks are running out of dry powder, running out of liquidity, and it seems like we only have weeks until we are dry. So this looks to me that if this shit hits the fan, obviously crypto is probably not going to be a winner in that scenario. Then we have this situation here, and this is concerning this Saturday. Take a listen.
But from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
So what he's talking about here is that Hamas has hostages in Gaza, and he wants every single hostage to be released into the custody of the United States or Israel and be freed. And he has now given Hamas until Saturday, and if all hostages, not 1 or 2 or 10 or 20, all hostages are not released, he says all hell will break loose. And if all hell breaks loose, I don't think that's extremely good for the Bitcoin or crypto markets. I think all hell breaking loose probably is quite bad for the crypto markets. So I don't know what all hell breaking loose means, but I don't know if you want to have long positions open and find out yourself. And reporters, they continued asking and grilling Donald Trump, what do you mean by this? And he just said, you will see. So I think most likely he has already planned some sort of an attack. And on Saturday, Sunday, or next week, we will see what kind of an attack it is. So he gave us a warning here. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be sidelined than be in the markets when this shit hits the fan. Now, if Hamas releases the prisoners, then maybe all hell doesn't break loose. I don't know, but it's just another risk that we have to basically be aware of at least. So the narratives at the moment are not looking great. And there's one more narrative that I have talked about many times on this channel, which is the S&P 500 index. So when we take a look at the 100-year history of the S&P 500 index, you can see that right now we are basically topping this channel here. And even in the short term, when we go to the daily time frame, you can see that we're practically barely hanging on above this trend line here. And as you can see, this runaway that we have here is basically ending within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then we either go to the downside or we have a decisive move to the upside. But right now, S&P 500 index looks like it wants to actually crash to the downside here. I don't know if it will drop 20%, 30%, 50%, who knows? But it doesn't seem like I would not be betting the markets to go to the upside a lot. Obviously, Donald Trump, he is issuing tariffs. 25% he issued today against the steel industries of other countries. So every steel and aluminum will have a 25% tariff when they enter United States. But if you make steel or aluminum in United States, then you can not pay the tariffs. But this trade war situation, it is still going on, and that is obviously creating fear and doubt in the markets as well. Maybe US markets will go up, but if that goes up, then maybe other markets will go down. So overall, it's just a lot of uncertainty on that front as well. When we take a look at fundamentals, though, we take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. Let me take out this. There is a lot of short liquidity here, basically above $108,000, all the way up to $110,000. So we could see some spike move to the upside to basically go up here. But if that will happen, I think a lot of people will be shorting Bitcoin because Bitcoin has been just an absolute slowpoke when it comes to price exponential growth anymore. And it seems like it actually doesn't want to go much higher anymore, like I thought it would in February. Then when we take a look at the aggregated order book liquidity as of now, you can see a lot of limit sell orders have entered the market. So maybe the limit sell orders are not enough and the markets are just absolutely bullish. Whales want to buy this market here and push the prices higher, who knows? But at least as of now, this 98K seems to be a local top here on the price, because we're seeing basically almost the same amount of sell pressure that we saw here when Bitcoin price was $102,000. So it seems like a local top here. This is another chart. I haven't talked about this for a long time now. By the way, I'm using CoinAnk now instead of CoinGlass. I found the charts here are more interactive, and they actually reached out to me and said that, hey, have you looked at our charts? I said, yeah. And they said, well, would you like to use it in your videos? I said, sure. So they gave me a free account, but no money. So that's my partnership with CoinAnk at the moment. But all in all, when we take a look at the 1 year plus hodl wave, this shows us wallets, the amount of Bitcoin that haven't been moved for 1 year or more. So basically, if Bitcoin is moved within a year, then that causes this chart to go to the downside. If Bitcoin is not moved within a year, then this is going to the upside. And usually during a bull market, you can see people are taking profits. So this wave is going to the downside. And when people are basically taking out the profits and some people are left holding the bag, they don't want to sell anymore, bear market hits, and then this usually grows to the upside because Bitcoin is not being moved. People are simply hodling Bitcoin. But once the bull market continues, that's when people start to move Bitcoin once again, and the chart goes to the downside. Comparing this move right now, you can see that basically a year ago, this wave started to go to the downside significantly. And right now, we are basically looking at a similar dip in this wave, in this chart here, that we saw at the peak of last bull market. So here, when Bitcoin price was $64,000, you can see it basically bottomed out. It hasn't bottomed out yet, or maybe it has, but it hasn't made like a round bottom yet. But it seems like this dip is already as deep as it was here. So we're looking at maximum Bitcoin price move of, I don't know, 155K, which I have been calling for, but even that starts to look even more unlikely as of now, taking all of these things into consideration. Now, everything could obviously change if Donald Trump just says, like, from now on, they will go to the market and buy Bitcoin with United States capital, but that, as of now, is not the case. So all in all, you're seeing a lot of profit taking on this front as well. Now, going into sentiment.net, I want to show a few things here. The first is supply of Bitcoin on exchange reserves. While this was going down, it is fundamentally a positive thing. When this is going to the upside, it means that people are depositing Bitcoin onto exchanges, and usually that means that they want to sell Bitcoin. Now we have seen some increases here on the exchange reserves once again. So I don't know, this has been going to the downside for a long time. So fundamentally, this looks like extremely bullish. But it also may mean that this has bottomed out. And we are now headed for the upside here, which means that people are depositing Bitcoin onto exchanges once again. And that could be quite bearish if that trend actually reverses. So that's one thing that I wanted to show you. Another one is stablecoin market cap. Yes, it started to grow again in January after Donald Trump took office, but the growth is much, much slower now than it was when Donald Trump got elected as president. So it is still growing, but the growth has slowed down significantly. Another thing that I want to share with you guys here is Bitcoin supply distribution based on wallet sizes. And one thing that I want to note here is basically since the last peak, take a look at this blue chart here. This is whales or whale wallets that have 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin inside them. These guys have massively just been selling Bitcoin like crazy at these price levels. And basically, not a lot of buyers are entering the market. Yes, this yellow line, which is 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin holders, that has been growing. But on the last few days, you can see this has actually gone to the downside. So if this continues to go to the downside and there's no buyers for Bitcoin, that could be quite catastrophic for Bitcoin price, obviously. So fundamentally speaking, yes, long-term, Bitcoin looks great. The ETFs are obviously great. Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, countries adopting Bitcoin on a long time frame, that is obviously good. But if there's a shock to the market, like a liquidity shock from the banks, like another war that the United States enters, who knows what's happening here. If the stock market suddenly takes a hit, or the IT sector of United States takes a hit because whatever is going on in China is trying to overtake USA in AI and other aspects, obviously. So if the United States stock market goes to the downside, what do you think happens to our altcoins? Our altcoins will probably go to the downside as well, obviously. So all of these things taken into consideration, sorry, not that line there, what I feel like is Bitcoin wants to go to the downside. And finally, when we talk about technical analysis, one thing I obviously see on the chart is when you take a look at this peak here compared to this peak, it was a higher high, but the RSI is giving us a lower high, which is a bearish divergence. The same exact thing happened here. So we saw higher highs, but lower highs here on the RSI, which showed us that momentum is slowing down. And that's basically when we had a huge move to the downside. Take a look at this Bitcoin price move here. This was minus 56%. Massive. Nobody was expecting Bitcoin price to drop as fast, as significantly as this. Then it had a nice recovery here, but then you know what happened afterwards, obviously. So right now, we have had a very sustained bull market here. Not any major crashes in Bitcoin price. Here, obviously, Bitcoin price, it dropped, what, 33%. But we haven't seen a massive crash. We haven't seen a massive panic in Bitcoin. We have seen a massive panic in altcoins, but we haven't seen it in Bitcoin yet. Now, if we see something like that, then Bitcoin price, let's see, like a minus 50% move. What price level would Bitcoin price go? $54,000, basically back to this zone here. I don't know if that will happen. I'm basically betting that Bitcoin will have a bounce at between $78,000 to $80,000 at least, a local bottom here. But right now, Bitcoin is basically on borrowed time, and we are still on the bull zone, technically speaking. And bull zone will basically be within this here. And if Bitcoin has a breakout, then I would expect it to sweep the highs here, but take out the short liquidations here, and then that will probably be end of the bull market there. This is my updated view for Bitcoin. Not as bullish as I would like. Obviously, I would like to be a mega bull here, but reality is just showing me that the markets are not doing well. The markets are out of liquidity. There's a lot of died out or dried out narratives that no longer really are playing out as we wanted. There's a lot of letdowns. There's a lot of bullshit going on with obviously meme coins, and a lot of liquidity is simply going into new coins, whereas old coins are not seeing any love from investors at the moment. So all in all, this is the update here. Now, if you want to trade these markets, if you want to long, if you want to short, I use Bybit.com, and if you use the code denome, you get 10% discount for your first 30 days, and you're also eligible for $30,000 in welcome rewards. If you simply want to learn how to trade these markets, you can create a free demo account with Bybit.com where you can trade Bitcoin or altcoins without risking your own capital. So all the losses, all the gains are fake money. So you can learn to trade before you actually invest your own capital on Bybit.com. That is the main feature. And if you want to then take the next level and start actually trading real capital, using my code here will help you get more discounts. So that's it for this video. I hope you got some value out of it. Now let me know in the comments what you thought of this analysis, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you and bye bye.